I want to talk about elitism. Christian elitism for a little while. Trust me, this thing has me laughing from since I was in my late 20s. After that veneer in regards to actual authority versus competency became clear to me. No, me, I old school. I'm very old school. I'm the kind of guy who grew up watching men prove their worth for their position. And I personally like martial arts and sports a lot, so. And even the military, love the military. And outside of the politics, which I totally despise, you often have to prove yourself in order for you to have a leadership position. You have to show that you have the qualities necessary to be in said position. However, in vast contrast, we have the Christian elite. The one who thinks that enticing words, Paul said, which Paul said he didn't come with, and Paul was a scholar. He was a scholar, not an scholar. He was a scholar in regards to Judaism and the Pharisaical laws and principles and theology, if you want to use that. Now, mind you, Paul said, I did not come with any enticing words of men's wisdom. But yet for all, I think that's in Chronicles, either First Chronicles, Second Chronicles, the first chapter of either one. Check and see if you're really concerned about where it was referenced from. But mind you, if you look at the quote-unquote Christian elite, just pay attention to how they operate. Just pay attention to how they operate. And you will see something very, 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 very clear. Very, very obvious. They praise one thing over everything else. Charisma. Charisma and storytelling. Not knowledge and wisdom and a whole library of references, informationally speaking, to communicate. Just simple charisma and storytelling. No. It is a baffle me, being a young boy in school, being so interested in science, that you would hear from the other aisle, the Christianity aisle, always saying that the scientists are actually wrong. But all they could say was just that, well, he made it in 3 days and he's God. Why are you questioning God? But I would say this. The atheists and the agnostics who were questioning these Christians were already questioning God. Frankly, I will say it again. His name is Yah, not God. So they're not questioning Yah, the creator, the father of all things. They are questioning you. And I remember one of the accounts brought to me locally speaking, of an atheist that used to deliberately go around crusades and mock pastors. No, why would he do that? It's because he understood that the Christians were insanely ignorant in regards to information, especially in regards to history. Look, if I had a penny, frankly, if I had $100, let me be frank, because they're not so much, but if I had $100 for every single time I came across a quote unquote Christian elite who was trying to advocate something scripturally, misquoting or representing the scriptures, I would have a lot of money right now. I would have a lot of money right now. If I were to take $100 for every single time they misrepresented the scriptures in one sermon, man, I would have thousands by the time the sermon was over. And why? Because if it's one thing about the Christian elite, going back to charisma and storytelling being the crux of their entire communicative base, is that they are highly superstitious and very emotional. And you cannot be superstitious and emotional when it comes to information. You have to be calculated, deliberate, and attentive to the information presented to you to be a proper intellectual. And that was what the Apostle Paul was. That was what he was. An adept intellectual, highly analytical. But again, we let the miracles and his choice to be simple in his communication confuse us in regards to his intellectual capacity. And don't even bring Christ, because come on, Yahushua is the most accomplished man in mankind's history in regards to information. He knows all things. And people always wrestle with this statement of knowing all things as a stance of a high divine sophistication. No. Yah is highly intelligent. Yahushua is highly intelligent to the point that we cannot grasp the intelligence. Let me give you a comparison. If man is playing one-dimensional chess, they are playing chess at the million dimension. And that's can't even compare to how highly intelligent they actually are. But mind you, the Christians who call themselves his children don't even scrape a fraction of the man's level of intelligence. And this is why I always scratch my head when I hear people evangelizing. Because I had to be a realist. I had to be a realist when I was back in church. What if I find an atheist or an agnostic and I have to talk to him about Christ and the Bible? Am I prepared to have a conversation with him? Or am I just going to pray in a closet and depend on the Holy Spirit, as they always do say, and don't prepare myself? Because mind you, the Bible never advocated for it to be walking into any situation unprepared. David was prepared to face Goliath. Joseph was prepared to deal with the problems that surrounded Egypt at the time of his elevation. Christ was prepared for ministry before he entered into ministry. Frankly, he was talking to the Pharisees on a higher level, marveling them at 12 years old. So, if the Bible advocates for you being prepared, and even Solomon, the wisest man, no divine connection really outside of being of the lineage of Adam, said that wisdom is outside your door, calling unto you, wanting to teach you. Why do the Christians, and the Christian elite more so, have this superstitious, ignorant view in regards to information? Thinking that Jesus saves is all the answer to the question, and the answer to all questions. Now, mind you, when you sit down and really consider the foolishness of that whole ideology, you will understand why the atheist and why the agnostic and why the intellectual at universities and science and academia always look at Christians and laugh. It's not because we are doomed to be persecuted. No. It's because a lot of us are very ignorant when we present ourselves before them for conversation. Now, mind you, there are the oddities. I remember one white guy, and there's another black guy who just stepped into the forefront the other day. I can't remember his name, but he big, strappy black man, gray beard, very intelligent. But I was still digress to the white guy because he more on the science side, my side. And he will come with a whole pile of information, evidence, to prove their point wrong in regards to evolution. A whole host of evidence. I remember he even brought one with a tree standing upright, being parallel to the sediment, mind you, naturally, in line, straight down, all the sedimentary quote-unquote levels that they use for eras. From the Jurassic, Permian, the whole host of eras that they say biological life went through up to this point, evolutionary speaking. Now mind that the tree is upright, straight upright, in the sedimentary deposit. So that means that has to be the oldest tree in creation's history. That tree has to be billions of years old by their assertion. Now, mind you, when I saw that, I was like, bravo, because he just proved his point. But how many Christians, and these Christian elite, and let me call him Joyce Meyer, Donnie McClurkin, Kirk Franklin, T.D. Jakes, how many of them could actually step into his shoes and represent what he was communicating if he wasn't able to communicate at the time? Let's say he was on vacation or something and they had to go and fill in his spot. Do you think they could actually do that? Be able to relate to all this information and be able to analytically express themselves in defense of creation? Nope. I will not lie to you, nope. I don't care if they have a doctorate in theology and all this other stuff, because frankly, listening to the theological people, it literally amuses me at this point. Because all they have is just big theories for the ignorance that they have, and they express to the public. But all this to say, because I look at them, especially in our generation, those of us who are millennials, and they are hands down the most comical of all these groups come right down. Because mind you, I cannot hold any heavy blame for the Puritans because they're all in you. That was all in you. Many of them didn't even have a Bible to really reference. They were just going by the word of mouth. We have the whole text upon text upon text upon text to reference, and we are far more idiotic in our communication than they were. And I will say it again, far more idiotic. I don't care if they say something hateful and harsh, they sound foolish when they talk about many issues. Because look at the whole abortion issue in America right now. You realize that a lot of Christians who hold a pulpit will not approach this thing even with a 5-mile or 10-mile pole. Why do you think that is the case? And I will say it is because they cannot handle a conversation. Now mind you, anybody who studies biology will be able to handle a conversation. Frankly, people who are far more simplistic in regards to biology have already tackled the problem. But mind you, the Christians won't approach it. And you know why? Because they are too emotional. And many of them don't even recollect or can even comprehend head or tail of the information in regards to what they are standing up for or against. Imagine them trying to explain the formation of a zygote, or from the moment of conception to the zygote stage, to the embryo stage, to the fetus stage, to the being born stage, the baby stage. And they haven't even immersed themselves in the information to even know what is even happening in the first place. They haven't studied the biological processes that happened from the moment of the two gametes coming together up to the point of delivery. And you wonder why Christians are so silent when it comes to these issues, but they have the biggest mouths over their pulpits, or on their pulpits, sorry. Because some of them operate like they are literally floating, hovering over the pulpits, like if they are seraphim over Yah's throne, literally. And it's because of this. When something is based on emotionalism, there is no real weight outside of the confined environment that they create for themselves. It's no different from the liberal people who talk about all the other push-button hot topics of this present day, from the alterations of people's genders to all the other stuff. The conversation only has weight when there is an emotional audience or amongst their peers. Pull it outside and give it the critical air of intelligent people who are experts in their field, and they will look at you like an idiot. You are actually being very foolish right now. There is no evidence in the literature or any case study to prove your point. And I remember a teacher telling me this when I was entering science at the secondary school level, and he said, science, or she said, science, I think all of them said it, science is about evidence. It's evidence first. It's the study of evidence first. If you say that a woman is stronger than a man, you have to have a case study of 10 women and 10 men and see who performs stronger. And you have to ensure that the parameters are not biased when you're actually asking them to execute the requirements necessary for that study. Now, mind you, I remember having a discussion with an atheist the other day. Not the other day, but some years ago. Sorry. Almost 10 years ago. And I told him, bro, there are hundreds of accounts that Christ rose from the dead. Even Josephus made mention of it in his writings. Now, if you want to question it, go and question the evidence, not me. But again, if you're not an intellectual, as most Christians are not, especially the elite ones, they have no point of reference for these things.